This is the day where we have 80 jerseys that blend into one blue river. One blue river that flows constantly. The end of the river, the empty end of the sea as one. That's how we roll.
Sing it for Serra.
Hooray for us!
All right, hello, and welcome everybody to a new format of our Serra High School Football Podcast with Coach Patrick Walsh. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I feel like I'm on ESPN, Sports Center, like ready to diagram some things. I'm excited.
Yeah,
this is great.
It's great. It's a little different this week because we are coming off of an enormous win from Wilcox. We were 7 p.m. San Jose City College, and it was a final score of 63-27.
63-27.
Thank you. Sorry,
That's
I was my numbers. But anyway, so great win. I mean, amazing. You could see the energy. The players were so pumped. They did so well. What I want to hear about the game very briefly, but what I do want to know is where we're going from here. And that's why the whiteboard's here, is because I think that you and I had exchanged texts, and there are a few changes that have gone on, and I'm very confused. And I was very confused last year and the year before, so let's just pretend that no one knows anything like Amy.
Okay.
Right?
So CIF Section 101 is kind of where we're headed. Okay.
Do you have anything to say about the game on Friday then
absolutely.
first? Okay, let's talk about that first.
We've won 4 Open Division championships in a row, which is remarkable. And I think it's just been an incredible run here at Serra. I think we would have won 5 in a row. Am I on that? Let's see. In 2020 there was
2020 was the spring season.
So we're going to claim that anyway. But,
yeah, do it. It's only 5 games, and they were amazing.
They were 5 amazing games. We always come back to that. And that's where this freshman class, that was their entry point. So to start there, wiping off footballs and touching goalposts and doing weird things, to the culmination of their Northern California season, being Open Division champions. It's just been a remarkable ride with the then freshman and now senior class. I love these guys so much. They've given their heart and soul to Serra. They've elevated our program. They're such great personalities, just a great class, the class of 2024. My class of the fall of 2023 will never be forgot around here. They're just an amazing group of people. And I think that Wilcox, we talked a lot about their running game, and how they've rushed for over 300 yards every single game. They had just under 40 yards of rushing at halftime, which is remarkable. Just things
against
like
us, we don't see that a lot, right?
It's unbelievable. Yeah. And I mean, we just we tackled the dive, we tackled number 8, and this is a very, very talented team in the Bay Area. But these guys did a fantastic job of what we do on defense, combined with the 63 points we scored on offense. It was a night that was a coronation of a great senior class here in Northern California. And I think, for the record, and in my unprofessional opinion, and I've only been on this planet for a certain amount of years, I don't need to state it publicly.
We won't.
But I was born in 1975, so go do the math. But I think this is some of the most spectacular football ever seen, from San Francisco to San Jose on the peninsula in Northern California. Over the last couple of years, what we've done up here is something that I never dreamed of, to be honest with you.
It's wonderful.
And to see those guys perform, those kids and our coaches, and just those guys perform at the very, very highest level has been a true blessing for everyone that's had a chance to see them. I get to see them, work with them every day. There's so much that goes behind that, behind the scenes, but ultimately the credit goes to these players. And that senior class is absolutely spectacular. So as long as there's Serra football, and we've built this on the James Outmans and Neo Maffis and Teddy Guntrin and all these wonderful, fantastic players. Ryan Calavano back in the day, I'm going to think of all these names, but we've built such a great foundation. All the alums have built the foundation, and these guys have taken it and continued to build on the house. So that's great. That has put us into Thanksgiving week, and practicing on Thanksgiving is one of the most special things. I love it. Love practicing on Thanksgiving. You do a great job with that. With the potluck, family, community, Ohana. It's so lovely. It's so lovely. And just being able to celebrate our football community, our Ohana, and to do it at Serra on Thanksgiving Day. Not everyone gets to do that. Right. And we actually, in a unique way, because of the new playoff format, we don't even have a game. So now it's going to be even more fun. You said you've created a new strategy for this practice. What are you guys going to do this time? Yeah, absolutely. So this has been great. So we have a bye week this week. Again, this is the first time our section's done that, and we happen to be the first open division representative of this new plan, which has afforded us the opportunity to practice on Thanksgiving without a game. That's awesome. So it's kind of like, what do we do? So then the concept was, let's take the captain's council, split them in half.
6 and 6, right?
6
We're
and
12.
6, yep, and do a draft. So we did a draft on
fun.
Sunday of the bottom of the
draft.
fire draft.
So cool.
And we're going to do a true Turkey Bowl bottom of the fire game.
How long is it going to be? Like actual?
I'll feel it.
Yeah, feel it out.
Not
See how
actual.
beat up they get.
No, not actual. Yeah.
There's no 48 minutes. Okay.
No, not 48 minutes. We're not going to do any of that, but just we'll feel it out.
So fun.
But with the practice that we had yesterday was one of the most enthusiastic practices ever.
Really?
And just because of the ownership of it and the guys, the starters are the coaches.
That's awesome.
And everyone's just really into it, which I think is so cool. And I think it's going to bring us even closer, which is an amazing thing.
Well, and that's really, like when you were talking about the team a little bit ago, I always have to shout out their amazing GPA because, the 3.6 is very impressive, cumulative GPA.
Yep.
They're smart people, but they're having fun. They're very serious about their athleticism and their focus and their drive and their desire to win and work as a team, but they're having fun, and it's really refreshing to see. So the fact that you're doing some of these kind of just different things because you can based on a bye week is actually really cool. And it's something they'll never forget.
Totally.
So awesome.
And this is a game.
Right.
At the end of the day, we're playing a game. And I think it's as stressful as it becomes, and the machismo and the testosterone and it's harder. It's easy to forget that it's just a game.
Right.
We all know it's way more than that. But at the end of the day, it's boys becoming men playing a game.
Right.
So I always like to create the environment with the coaches and the staff. Let's not take ourselves so serious to where we're miserable.
Right.
Because if we're miserable as coaches, the kids are going to be miserable. The parents are miserable. It's like, I don't want to be a part of a miserable organization.
Right.
We want happy employees. We want employees that we've talked a lot about having ownership and feel like they're the reason why we're great, which is what they are. And we want all that to happen. And ultimately, we want an environment where people are happy.
Right.
And that's a hard thing to do when there's accountability and we're keeping score and other things. But this is a happy week. I'm thankful, grateful to be alive. I got my Holy Trinity shirt on here. We got the football, the apple or the pumpkin pie, and the drumstick, the turkey stick. So we'll be having some of that on Thursday too.
Awesome. Your little gratitude bowl. That's going to be awesome. We'll bring more coverage on that.
Let's go.
People can see
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so moving along. Again, great effort by the team, and here we are. I assumed immediately, as most did, even some of our local newspapers were like, on to state. Like a lot of people just assumed and erroneously assumed that we would just be going immediately there like we did last year and the year before.
Sure.
Can you just tell us why it's different, and just from, I think, just 101. Let's just go football playoffs 101 high school.
Yes, absolutely. So to understand California state championship system, you have to understand the basics of our federation. So we are a part of what they call the CIF, okay? The CIF is the California Interscholastic Federation.
Gotcha.
Okay? Basically, the CIF's main objective is to put down some governance and some rules, and also to host state championship systems.
Okay.
Okay? So, once you kind of understand that, and I'm going to talk to the crowd here.
This is public and private schools.
Public and private,
we're
all in the CIF, the California Interscholastic Federation, and the chairman, or what is Ron Nichetti? Ron Nichetti he sits at the top of it. He's responsible for it. And the CIF actually reports... The commissioner, thank you. And the CIF actually reports to the California state legislature. Okay? It's just over 100 years old. Okay? What's unique about our state is that our federation is made up of 10 sections, okay? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 sections, okay? There are 10 sections in the state of California. Okay? We are a part of the CCS. Okay? This is the Central Coast section. There's across the bay, there's the NCS, the North Coast section. North Coast section is, I know that well because that's where De La Salle is, okay? There's the San Joaquin section. I'm not going to go through all 10 of them because I don't know them all by heart.
Obviously, regional sections.
Regional sections from the north part of the state down to the southern part of the state. And then there's some inner city sections. There's the LA City section, there's the Oakland section, and then there's the San Francisco section. But at the end of the day, every single high school is a part of one of these 10 sections. Okay? Here's the most important part that you need to know. Every section is its own individual governing body. Okay? They do not relate to any other section. Every section has a commissioner. We're all governed by the same CIF rules, but every section is its own deal.
And roughly how many teams roughly are in each section?
Oh boy, I mean, we have 100.
Are we talking 30, 100?
Well, like the Oakland City section is very small. San Francisco City section is very small. The southern section is massive. So that's where the Mater Deis, the Boscos, pretty much anything in Orange County.
It's a big section, yeah.
It's a massive section.
Serra, it just goes on and on.
It goes from the coast to the Inland Empire, to the San Diego border, because we have the San Diego section. That's right. So there's a San Diego section. We'll put this down here. And there's a southern section. And I have doctor's handwriting.
That's right. This is some serious business.
Okay, so
some surgery we're doing here.
That's right. So the CIF sits above all this, okay? The sections control their playoff system. Their playoff system in the CCS has nothing to do with the playoff system in the NCS.
Interesting.
There is no overlapping. We are all our own individual people. Now, what I've learned in that, there's been some problems with that, because when they shut the state down and nobody can play any sports,
right,
there's not one singular body that you can go to affect change. Okay, this is something that I've learned through this whole thing. So when all that stuff happened, it was like, how do we organize all this? Now in Texas, they have the Texas High School Coaches Association. They have the UIL, which governs it all, and everyone is in the same, basically, pot. There isn't individual fiefdoms, if you will, individual sections. Okay, so in Texas, there's the Texas High School Coaches Association, which has over 200,000 coaches in it, and one governing body that affects all those coaches. It's great, and they're their own lobbyists. And there's a lot of things that go on. There's a lot of strength in that. Okay, we are, in a sense, broken apart.
So is this the impetus for the Golden State Coaches Alliance?
This was the impetus for the Golden State.
Okay. Makes sense.
So we could come together in some form or way. And actually, in 2020, the first people I called were the guys that ran the Texas High School Coaches Association.
Interesting.
I said, tell me about your organization, because we need to organize, we need to make change and all that stuff, okay? And this helped me understand this. By the way, when I forfeited a football game in 2014, we had a 2-year playoff ban slapped on us. Mm-hmm. And I called, some people like, this doesn't seem fair, this doesn't seem right, whatever, it's a long story. But really, the only thing that mattered was the section.
Interesting.
Nothing else mattered.
So what makes up each individual set of rules that govern their section? Is that determined by the commissioners itself?
That's right. The commissioners, there's a board of managers, that sort of stuff. So,
is there any congruence? I mean, are any rules that apply to all?
Well, the CIF sits over the top of it, and there's certain rules that apply to if you want to be in the CIF.
You have to follow X, Y, and Z.
You have to follow rules. Yeah. So there are rules in that, but the ultimate decision-making power when it comes to the playoff system rests right here within your section.
Interesting.
Okay. So, with that said, the only way to get in the CIF football championship, to play for a state championship, the one rule is you have to be a section champion. Okay? So, if you want to go here, you have to be a section champ. Okay? So, to go to the CIF state playoff system, you have to be a section champ. So every section now is like, okay, we need to produce section champions. We're going to take those section championships and we're going to give them to the CIF, and the CIF is then going to determine where people go. Okay, so you on board?
I am. I've got you.
You're with me?
Explaining it well, yes.
Okay, good. All right. So let's take our section, because that's the only one that matters right now.
Yep.
Okay, every other section is doing their playoffs. Some end this weekend, some ended last weekend, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Right.
In our section, okay, so I'm going to erase some of this.
See, I'm going to remember some podcasts from past because I remember the 8-1, 7-2,
Correct.
right? Okay.
So in our section, they take by points, and not everyone uses points. Some sections, like the NCS, sit around a table and say, I think we're better than you, and you think we're better than us, and we beat them.
Negotiation.
There's negotiation. In our section, which I really support, is we have points. It's based on strength of schedule, wins and losses, these sort of things, okay? So then our section goes, okay, well, here's the top team in the section, okay, and it goes all the way down to 8, and then they go, and in the top level of the section, this is where we have the open/D1. They take the points, 1 through 8. This year, Serra had the most points. We were 10-0, we played great teams. We had the most points by far, okay? So Serra went here, and Salinas was here, right?
Yep.
St. Francis was here. Wilcox was here. Okay, so it's important that you understand this now. Okay, so listen. People are like, I don't get this at all. What is going on? You guys are done? What's happening?
Right.
Okay. So there's, I believe, 5 or 6 section champions in our section.
Okay.
Let's call it 5. Okay, so there's 4. So 8, no, there's 6. There's 48 teams that get in. So if there's 6 divisions, there's 48 teams that get in.
Okay.
Okay? So 8 teams, 6 divisions, there's 48. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know exactly how many divisions we are because most of the time we're up here. So I just spend the time worried about this.
Exactly.
Okay? So I'm going to speak with authority on this. And it took me a long time this year. I'm telling the fans right now, like, I didn't really understand this till like week 8 when I'm like, wait, what are we doing now? So now I get it. Okay?
I mean, some of these rules have changed, right? You said, this.
It's changed many times.
It's not that in your 23 years of coaching, you would have this down by now if it stayed the same. It's just that they continue to.
It changes every time. It's changed multiple times since I've been in this league, and it changed this year. This is the first time we've done this. Okay. So this is open/D1. The top 8 teams are in the open/D1. And then the next 8 teams, 9, 10, 11, 12 through 16 are in the next one.
Got it.
Here's the argument, okay? So here's the argument with this open division thing, and I actually really support it. If we take the 8 best teams, regardless of size and public and private and whatever, and we take the 8 best teams in here, and remember, the only way to get into the CIF state playoffs is to what?
Win.
Win what?
Championship.
You got to win a championship. You have to be a section championship to get into this. So the argument from a lot of people was like, wait a sec. If we're taking our 8 best teams,
right,
and we're only giving one spot to the winner, that's not fair. Because now 9 through 16, they get the second spot.
Right.
So the argument, so this is where this open/Division 1 thing came in 2023. Okay? So, and I actually support that because if by points, Serra was 1, St. Francis was 2, and I think Los Gatos and SI was, I think, 3. And, we have, who else was in there? We had Los Gatos. Who did SI play?
I think Los Gatos on Friday night, right?
Yeah, Wilcox is back in. I'm saying, well, I can think through this, but we have LG, I know Los Gatos was in there. Valley Christian. So I think Valley was here. Oh, I know. Valley was here, Los Gatos was here, and Reardon was here.
That's right.
That's exactly what happened, okay? So it was Serra 1, St. Francis 2, sorry for the doctor's handwriting. SI was 3, Los Gatos was 4, Reardon was 5, Valley was 6, Wilcox was 7, Salinas was 8. So in order to get 2 champions out of the top 8, 1 played 8, 2 played 7. The winner of that game played for the Open Division Championship last week. So in this scenario, 7 and 8 could beat 1 and 2,
right,
and they could be the Open champions, right?
Yeah.
So it could happen that way.
Could happen that way for
so
sure.
This year, Serra beat Salinas, Wilcox beat St. Francis. Okay, Serra played Wilcox. This is round 2.
Right.
Okay. Serra played Wilcox, and Los Gatos beat Reardon in the first round, and SI beat Valley in the first round. So SI versus LG. Right? Serra won. Serra is open. Done. Wilcox lost. Okay? So Wilcox lost. Los Gatos beat SI. So now the Division I championship this weekend on Thanksgiving weekend is LG versus Wilcox. Okay. Whoever wins that is the Division I champ.
Because we are now in open.
Right. So we're the open division champion, and Wilcox versus LG or SI versus LG, they'll be the Division I championship. Okay. So I'm gonna erase all this.
Wilcox versus LG, you mean?
Sorry, Wilcox versus LG, right.
And that's important to state. We are the only WCIL team left.
We're the only WCIL team left.
Important to state.
That's right. We're the only WCIL team.
That's my 2 cents for this podcast.
Thank you, Amy. That's
super
great.
Important.
Okay. So now, Serra equals CCS Open champ, and LG or LG or help me.
Wilcox.
Or Wilcox equals D1.
Got it.
Okay, now, this is where everything comes back together, okay? So what is happening right now, right? The NCS has an open division champion, it's De La Salle. Serra has an open division champion, or the CCS has an open division championship, it's Serra. There may be other sections that have this format, they're the open division champion. There could be 10 open division champions. Okay, remember, every section, we could call it the 10. Butterfly champion.
So 10 section champions, right?
There's 10 top section champions.
Right.
Remember, this is the most important thing. This is what I was trying to explain to Lindsay, my wife, okay? The CIF has nothing to do with the sections at this point, okay? Nothing, okay? The section's responsibility is to produce, through championships, the people that they are telling the section or offering to the section.
So it's like they put their one vote up, essentially.
They put their winners up.
Right.
This is the guys we're putting in.
Right.
Okay? So because we use the word open, if all 10 sections use the word open, who goes to the CIF open game?
Right.
There's no correlation because remember, the CIF and the sections are not together.
Right.
Okay? That's very important to understand.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Okay? So now we got to talk about the CIF. Okay? Okay? The highest game in the state of California takes the best Northern California team and the best Southern California team, and they put them in the Open Division Championship.
Which we played in the last 2 years, Bosco and Mater Dei.
Correct. We played Mater Dei 2 years ago, and we played Bosco last year. Okay? They're playing each other again this weekend, and whoever wins that game is going to be the Southern representative of the Open Division.
Gotcha.
Because they're the best ones.
Any predictions?
No, absolutely not.
Getting them off track.
I cannot do that. I will tell the fans, if anyone's paying attention, that the first game, Bosco won 28-0, which was kind of a shock.
Right.
Like Mater Dei shutting out, that's an incredible defensive performance by the Bosco Braves. But anyway, so what happens the second time? The first one usually tradition has shown that whoever wins the first one does not win the second one. So, those of you out there that are thinking through that stuff, go ahead.
And when is that game?
That game is Friday night.
Okay, Friday night.
Friday night at 7 in the LA Coliseum.
Got it.
Okay,
Good game to watch.
Which is a really good game to watch, and we're gonna be watching it. It's gonna be fun. Okay, so this is how the state playoff system is laid out in the state of California. Remember, none of it has a bracket. Like, okay, if we beat you, we're gonna play them, and if they beat them, we're gonna play them.
Right.
It's not a bracket style. So if you look at the brackets in the NCAA or the Texas High School state championship or March Madness brackets, if you win, you're going to play the winner of this and this.
Right.
And if they win, you're going to play the winner. That's bracket style.
Yeah, easy predictions, right?
Easy predictions. The NFL playoffs, whatever. Right. It's the bracket style predictions is like, okay, if we win, we go here. If we win, we go here. If we win, we go here. We're playing for the Super Bowl. Right. That's great. It's not the case here. Okay? So remember, we're producing section champions, offering them to the CIF. The CIF works like this. Okay? Game number 2 is 1AA. Game number 3 is 1A. Game number 4 is 2AA. Game number 5 is 2A, and so on and so forth, down to whatever, okay? You with me?
I'm totally with you.
Okay, thank you. So, what happens is the sections produce their champions, and the board of managers at the CIF level says, we're going to make some decisions on who we think belong where. Okay? So they sit around a table and they say, we think this person should go here, and we think this team should go here, and we think this school should go here. How that happens, I have no idea. Okay?
Got it.
And this is where that question comes in. Like, where are we going to go?
Right.
Okay? So, we are one of 2 undefeated teams in Northern California, in the Northern California region. Okay? There's Serra. We're 12-0. And there's Clovis North, who's also 12-0. Clovis North plays this weekend because they don't have the open division set up.
Right.
So Clovis North plays this weekend, plays Friday night. Okay? If Clovis North loses, we're automatic open division in. There's no other undefeated teams, whatever.
Right.
If Clovis North wins, they're 13-0, we're 12-0. Okay? So now human beings sit around and they say, are we going to choose Serra? Are we going to choose Clovis North? And this is what I'm saying, like, because humans, and it's not a bracket.
Right.
For me, and I'm just being honest with everyone, I always prepare for any eventuality that could happen. We want to be in the open division game. We believe our resume stacks up better than Clovis North, and we should be in that game. We want to play in the open division game. We beat De La Salle, who's an open division champion in the NCS.
Right.
We beat Folsom, who's playing for their section championship. We beat Central Catholic, who I believe is still playing for a section championship.
Right.
Our resume is strong. We play in the WCIL. Our strength of schedule is strong. We are undefeated. We believe, okay, bias or whatever, or just look at the resume.
Right.
We believe we belong in this open division championship game against the winner of Southern California, Mater Dei or Bosco. Okay? And make no mistake about it, our players want to play in this game, and our coaching staff want to play in this game.
Yes, I know. Dispel those rumors, because you do see on social media here and there, like, oh, you don't want to go back down there. We do.
We believe that and this is why I schedule the way we schedule, we believe that we have proven through 48 minutes at a time, 1 minute at a time, 48 minutes in a game, over a 10-week period, that we are the number 1 team in Northern California. And if that's the case, and we just go into some system, that will put us against Mater Dei or Bosco, which is maybe the number 1 team in the nation. Right. So be it, whatever. Okay, that's just the way it is, but we can only control what we can control.
And be prepared to do it, right?
And be prepared to do it and put our best effort forward, and whoever shows up, Mater Dei or Bosco, we're going to get on the bus and go down south again and do the best we can against those teams. So they're very talented teams, great coaches, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So because there's not a bracket style and humans are beside it, maybe they sit around the table and say, we're gonna.
Should Clovis North have the 13-0 season, right? I mean, if they lose,
yes. If they lose, that's not an issue.
Not an issue.
So, according to my research and things that I've done and been around for a long time, I think that's unlikely. But then again, what does it matter? I think my intentions don't matter. What I think doesn't matter. It only matters what the CIF thinks. And I think, and I'm preparing our team that we're going to watch Mater Dei and Bosco, and we're going to play the winner of that game. That's the way we're thinking.
Right.
But I also don't want this whole community to be disappointed if some humans choose another track, which I would object to, again.
Right.
But if they choose that, we'll be hosting a regional game.
Okay.
Okay.
So that would likely be between.
It
would be De La Salle.
It would be between De La Salle and Folsom.
Okay. So winner of that game.
No, they're not playing each other.
So it's just based on their decision.
Correct. They could pick, who knows, right?
Okay.
So this is where it goes into this kind of other humans are thinking it.
Yeah.
So the CIF Board of Managers will choose either Serra or Clovis North for the open game, and then the 1AA game will be against the 2 next best teams.
Okay.
And then the 1A game will be against the 2 next best teams.
And are all of these in Southern California?
No. So the open, if you're selected, if we are selected to play in the open division, you do not play in a regional game.
Okay.
Okay. Every other level, 1AA, 1A, 2AA, 2A, we'll play a NorCal versus NorCal regional game.
Right, and then you're the NorCal representative.
To play the South on the weekend of December 8th and December 9th, or December 9th and December 10th, okay? So all of these games here, right? Choose a different color. All of these games here have regional games. This open game, they take the best from the South plus the best from the North in the open game, and they say, no regional game for you guys. You guys are the two best in the North and the South.
Rest up.
You're going to go play on December 9th.
Right.
Now, the unique thing for us when we get chosen for this game is, well, because of the new system here, we have a bye week this week. If we get chosen for this game, which I think we should, again,
right,
we'll have a bye week next week.
Wow.
So we'll have 2 weeks off, and then we'll play. So it'll be a 3-week kind of deal to prepare for that game, which, that it is what
more
it is.
practice.
Yeah.
It could be a good thing, right?
Well, look what we're doing this week.
Exactly.
It's
Good to have some
fantastic.
fun, right?
Yeah, it's going to have some fun.
Elongate the season if you can, for sure, right?
Correct. So
interesting.
So this is the way it is, and it would be great if we had a true system like Texas, where it's regionally based and that. But because of the 10 sections and the fact that we're not united, it's going to be very, very hard, if ever, to do that. This is the CIF's way. And there were years where there was no state championships at all.
Right.
Years. Like when we played at De La Salle, we were 13-0, North Coast section champs. Peace out. See you later. Go play baseball. Go play basketball. You're done. And there's some merit to that. There's some benefit to that, particularly with finals coming up and all that stuff. I'm mixed on that whole thing, and I want to. If they're going to offer this, we're going to want to win it.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
But there was a beauty to it too, where you're the first week of December, you're done. You're your section champ, your area, and there's something to that too. High school wise, we're still amateur sports. We're the last bastion of amateur sports.
Yeah.
Thank God. We're not amateur like college, which is not amateur. It's business.
Right.
And obviously the NFL's business. So anyway, that's kind of the break. Do you have any questions?
I do. I have a couple questions. So one would be based on your comparison with Texas and California. You said that they continuously change the playoff structure, not always, but sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. Off years. Do you foresee them changing it to another program altogether where the sections do communicate and have a system like Texas?
Well,
Is there enough chatter of frustration, I guess? Is there enough? Okay,
no,
so people
no.
just accept it and move on.
Yes, I don't. The only way to change this is to almost change the bottom.
I see.
So by becoming an association as opposed to a federation, there's the only way to fix that problem is to literally blow up the entire system and start all over again.
Okay.
Since we've been doing this for 100 years.
Right. Probably not.
Although
if any change agent could do it, it might be you.
Well,
Coach Walsh,
that would be
note.
so. I'm not. This is something that would require a lot of stuff. But if a group or a group of schools or a group of people, like I've heard rumors that the SEC is going to pull out of the NCAA and just be like, we're done.
Right.
Like we don't want to be a part of this. Right? That would require a ton of management, leadership.
Probably postponements for the athletes too. There'd be a lot of crap.
A lot of uncertainty, right? And our state's not there yet, but really there's two ways to fix it and get more towards a Texas playoff system. One would be we're doing our own. Like we're just stepping away.
Right.
And we have this group of X amount of schools in the state of California. We have our own governing body. We're just going to do things our own self. We're going to have our own set of rules. We are literally taking it and we're just ejecting from the system.
Right.
I don't see any reason why that's going to happen.
That wouldn't be. Yeah.
No, because if you look at some of the other sports, they have great systems. Like it works better. Football is a totally unique thing.
Right.
What I would think would be really fun, it's hard to do, is to just have something for football.
Interesting, yeah.
Just
a governing board that would just find a fair measure of, toughness and
football
championships.
That's right, just for football.
Right.
Right. So if you look at college sports, football is a totally different animal than any other sport.
Right. Well, look at the roster size. There's that alone, just the individuals on the team. There's a lot.
Look at a Michigan football game on a Saturday afternoon. There's 120,000 people there.
Right.
Okay. there's no other sport that's like the Michigan baseball
type,
doesn't have
right.
120,000 people there.
Exactly.
120,000 times X amount of dollars to pay for a ticket times the M and all the other things. Like there's some massive revenue.
Big deal.
That football creates, and it's smaller, but at the high school level too, football is a big deal.
Huge buy-in for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So there could be something like down the pipe, and things have changes all the time. Like,
right.
Would we have ever thought that UCLA and USC were gonna be in the Big Ten?
Right.
No one ever would have said that last year or 2 years ago. Like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. But things change.
Right.
So I've always liked to think, hey, let's think outside the box here. Maybe there's a better way to do things, right? Maybe there is a better way to do things. And then the other option, instead of that, would be just literally just the state of California saying, okay, we're restructuring, we're blowing this whole thing up, we're starting over.
From the top down.
From the top down, everything. Legislative body, CIF, all the sections, it would change everything, and I just don't see that happening.
Okay, my next question is kind of, it's definitely relevant, but it's not necessarily to the structure, but do you have any opportunity to challenge a decision if it doesn't go in Serra's favor? Should Clovis North win?
Zero.
So it's just, you just take it?
That's.
I just didn't know if it were like, some, you can appeal. Some systems allow
appeals.
There's
no appeal, there's no, and thankfully we have a podcast like this, and maybe someone's listening where like intent, but no one in the last, because we played in the state championship in 2016, 2017, 2019, 2021, 2022, and now 2023.
Right.
Never once did I get a phone call from someone saying, hey, how do you feel about being in the blah, blah, blah?
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
And that makes sense because it's not just there's this game and it goes all the way down, and there's a lot of games. That'd be a lot of phone calls, a lot of intent.
Right.
Like it's
You probably never play the game until April.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's April.
By the time you had fairness and like responding and everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
I just didn't know if that was something that you could,
It's a great question. We and that's why I kind of I prepare for all eventualities. I think there's a 99% chance that we're going to play an open division game. To be honest with you, but because there's 1%,
right. Can't assume anything.
I'm just gonna, and I don't know anything about Clovis North. They might, and probably, maybe someone from Clovis North is like, but I don't know anything about them,
sure.
and in all fairness to them or whatever, it's just.
They look good. I went on Max Preps and checked it out. Yeah, they look good.
Okay.
Obviously 12-0. They put a lot of points on the board.
And they're playing Central of Fresno this week, and Central, they're in league mates, I believe. They've already played each other, and.
Clovis North beat them by 1 touchdown.
That's correct.
That's so.
Amy?
I know. I did. It came to me. I don't know.
High school genius.
I'm like, I don't get all this writing, but I'm like,
yeah.
I know football.
They won 27-0 the first time.
Awesome. So it's anyone's game, really. Stuff like that.
So I think it's an interesting for people as they watch this weekend's game. What's really fun is that we're talking about this.
Absolutely. And you're actually, this is like very interpretive for those of us that, we don't understand it. There are a lot of people that do, but if it's constantly changing, we don't have any idea. And that was so helpful for me personally. And I know a lot of other people that are just love the team and love Padre football, but don't understand the logistics just because we haven't had the time to research it. So
totally,
it's very, very helpful.
And I like being relevant. I like that the Padres are relevant, and we're sitting here talking about we're practicing on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And I've always said on a lot of these telecasts or these podcasts, like we can only control what we can control. So I'm not going to lose sleep. I'm not going to have any anxiety about anything that may or may not happen to our team. I'm just blessed and so thankful that I get an opportunity to go to practice today with this wonderful group of seniors, all these kids. We got all those 13, 14 freshmen up. We get the bottom of the fire going on. This is a great opportunity, by the way, to take a leap forward into 2024. Okay, it's not illegal for us to practice right now, right?
Absolutely not.
When football season's over, you can't practice football. It's illegal. Now, you can have open gym for basketball and open cages, and there's all, this is the one sport.
Again, different rules, right? Again, like to your point.
Totally.
Earlier. Yeah.
But football's like, you can't play football. You can't do that.
Can't have an edge.
You can't do that. No, there's no football. There's all sorts of rules against football, but I get it. You know. People might, like me, might go crazy, and we're hitting on, April 48th, or April 14th.
14th.
Right, you can't do that. But this is a great opportunity for us to we're actually using this week, we're treating it like it's May 8th. That's awesome. So this is May 8th, literally we took a practice plan out from May 8th, 2023, and we put it in yesterday.
That's great.
So this is for me, I get an opportunity to look at the young kids, to evaluate them, to develop them. They're going to get, hopefully 3 more weeks of practice. Totally. And this is the loot that is that is earned from a championship season, right? So in all those years that I just mentioned, the youngsters get all those weeks of practice.
It's true. I mean, it's a carryover, right? They become, they know what leadership means and what next year and what the culture is and what is expected of them. I mean, that really does rub off on their new teammates coming up too. So that
what I told the seniors yesterday was, remember when James Outman and Creighton Felice came back and they stood there?
That was awesome.
And they were standing there in front of the team.
We have a little reel of that on Padre football.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. But that was a great moment because those men, coming back, doing their job in the Army and playing for the Dodgers, are standing there saying, I got a stake in this.
Right.
So in real time, what I told those guys was, remember when those guys came back and they feel like they have a stake in Padre football? Right. Well, you guys are literally handing it off. And since you're not practicing this week, you're going to coach it.
That's so cool.
So then, we'll see what happens in the next few years, but this is your opportunity to give back all the things that you learned from those guys and everyone else and give it back to those young kids so they can continue to keep Padre football, progressing. I think it's great.
It's the Trinity, right? It's all those things, just like your sweater.
It is. It's not the apple pie and the pumpkin pie.
No, but it's
and
the brotherhood, the love, and humility, right? That's our
is.
Trinity. So that's awesome.
It really is, and I cannot wait for Thanksgiving. There's nothing better than a practice on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
There's really nothing better than a practice on Thanksgiving. Now I used to say. So actually, things have changed so much. I used to say the only thing better than practicing on Thanksgiving is practicing the week after Thanksgiving.
There you go.
That's what you want.
That's right.
I guess it's still, since we're not playing, it's kind of
still practicing
now.
After, yeah.
But yeah, we're still practicing after Thanksgiving.
That's great.
So
awesome.
yeah, if there's questions or you can reach out, and I think.
Just DM any questions you might have, and we'll answer them on the next podcast. I will say just thank you to everybody who filled out the survey. It gave us some great feedback for the podcast. And in the next 3 weeks, we're going to be having some fun too in interviewing some different coaches and maybe getting some of our captains out here and just playing around with showing kind of the fun and the seriousness of the program and just kind of highlighting it a little bit more because these boys deserve it and it's fun for us and it's just they deserve it. So
if anyone's thoroughly confused. Then they can reach out to us and be like, this is chicken scratch. Hopefully I can get some feedback on if that made any sense at all. But
it certainly did, and I appreciate your time, and we are, in the spirit of gratitude, so grateful for you, your players, your team, your coaches, everyone. So
thank you.
Go Padres!
This was fun.
Yeah, this was really fun. Really, really
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes.